This is Mike with AskTractorMike.com. I'm speaking today with Mark, who is an old friend of mine, and probably I've waited over a year to get Mark's time to talk about an issue that a lot of you are wondering about, and that is how to select and buy a sprayer, how to use pesticides properly. And Mark has been a salesman for a chemical company, and he's also worked where I worked at S&H Farm Supply, where we are right now in Rogersville, Missouri, and sold a lot of these sprayers. It's a real sensitive topic because we want everybody to be safe, and there's a lot of ways you can get in trouble with spray. And before we tell you about how to buy a sprayer, we're going to talk about kind of spraying in general. And Mark, you're certified to sell pesticides. You're a certified applicator. What do people need to know that have never used pesticides before?
Well, number one, I'm a certified dealer. I'm a licensed applicator. So, and there is a difference in between a commercial applicator, that is a guy that goes out and does it for hire, does spraying and everything, and he does have testing and fees that he has to pay for his licensing. Whenever we first talk about pesticides and everything, first thing that I usually ask customers, Mike, is what are we going after? Are we going after a grass, which would need a herbicide? Are we going after bugs, weevils in alfalfa, any type of aphids or anything? Then we need insecticides. If you have problems around the house and everything with mice and everything, we're looking at rodenticides. If we're doing pond management, we're looking at algicides. So we have to identify first as to what we're going after.
And a guy needs to know what he's spraying and how to go after it. And where do you get that information?
University of Missouri is awesome to go after that type of information. Here at our location, we have books and we have guides that we use, and once we identify the problem, then we look at the chemical that is used, and then we look at the rates that is required to make this chemical work, Mike.
This is one thing that my viewers can do that can impact a lot of people. If you improperly use a pesticide, it's not going to just impact you. It could impact a lot of people. It could impact a lot of wildlife. Let's talk a little bit about some of the dangers that you can get into. Like today, if you hear the wind noise, and we're kind of windy, and today would be a horrible day to be spraying.
Yes, it would. Anytime that you have the wind speeds up, 10 miles an hour or more, it's not a good time to spray because you get what is called drift. And there are drift controls and everything like that. But whenever we're looking at this kind of wind, it's very, very dangerous, especially if we're working around like waterways or anything like that. That chemical can drift into the waterways. We can have a fish kill, and that can create big problems.
I have an acquaintance that's in litigation right now. The county sprayed under a power line, and certain plants are real susceptible to spray. And grapes, tomatoes, different things like that, boy, you can knock them out. And he had a grape vineyard, and the county just took it out. And so there's a real danger from a liability standpoint.
Yes, very much so. And speaking about that, it kind of makes you think all of a sudden a utility company is using product that's going to kill woody type plants, and whenever you look at then this woody type plant and you think about a grape, that is something that is a woody type plant.
And also you mentioned waterways, and if a guy, a lot of times guys that watch my channel are putting in food plots. A lot of times these food plots are going down in the bottom where the soil's good, and a lot of times down in the bottom is a creek. There's a danger there.
Yes, very much so. Anytime that there's a creek or a ditch that is run to that creek or anything, and if we get they're talking maybe tomorrow night we get a good rain or something. We spray today, that chemical's laying on the ground, and if we're close enough to a creek and we don't put a buffer zone in there, our product is going to head straight to that waterway, and that creek's going to feed into a river which is full of fish and everything. And you have a fish problem if you kill fish. I mean, it's DNR is going to be on you like you wouldn't believe.
One other thing I think we ought to talk about, Certain pesticides are restricted. If you want to apply them, you have to be certified. Usually in Missouri, the County Extension Service certifies people, and you can't buy stuff that if you're not certified. So if you're going to use some of those restricted use pesticides, you need to be certified. You'll learn a lot of this stuff at the training.
Very much so. And University of Missouri does the training. You can go anytime and set up an appointment, and they will give it to you on an individual basis.
And that's in Missouri. And in other states, I'm sure it's administered somewhat the same way. Go online and find out.
Yes, very much so. And don't be afraid of your county extension agents and stuff like that. I mean, they're good about getting you to the right people to get the right license, the right knowledge that you need to make this kind of to make the kind of applications that you need for your pesticides.
Last thing I want to talk about, it's pretty critical to keep good records. And if you go to the training, they give you a little form. From a liability standpoint, if I'm applying restricted use pesticides, I want to keep good records about where I applied them, what day I applied them, and stuff like that.
Yes, you also want your temperature outside. You also want your wind directions and the speeds of your winds and everything, so that if it does get on your neighbor's grapevines and everything, well, the wind was blowing in opposite direction than what I was spraying, and there could have been no way that I had that drift. I recommend everybody keep records every time they hook onto a sprayer, Mike.
Hey, I've been speaking with Mark here at S&H Farm Supply in Rogersville, Missouri about pesticides. In our next installment, we're going to look at sprayers, and we're going to help educate you about the difference in all these types of sprayers. You see a lot of different options on them, and if you don't know what you're looking for, you may get the wrong one for your application. Hey, I survive on web traffic. I'd be honored if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my Facebook page, and share this video with other tractor enthusiasts. And if you got questions or comments, put them below. We'll try to answer them. Hey, thanks for watching.